Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the bus, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week at the Buffalo Stampede, we put a wrap on the football season. We break down the last game of the 2022 campaign with my partner Gary Barnett and silent reporter Andy Lindahl. Also, a great win for the Buffs basketball team of the Yale Bulldogs. We talk with assistant coach Bill Greer and former Yale Bulldog Jalen Gavadon. All this week on the Buffalo Stampede. Line to throw. Right side picked off by the Buffaloes. Running at the 35-30, cuts right, steps out of a tackle, 25, cuts to his right again, stumbles, 15, 10, all the way down to the 9-yard line, and that's where he's finally taken down. Handoff, Hankerson, right side, yes they can, and he may find the end zone, 10-5, end zone! Touchdown! Touchdown, Colorado! That little fella's got some giddy up to him. Well, it took a little time, but finally some excitement for the Buffaloes in the third quarter of the season finale. Buffs still fall in a lopsided affair. Season comes to an end 1-11 as Colorado loses to number 14 Utah. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Buffalo Stampede. Coach Gary Barnett, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. It was a long season for everybody involved.
And, Mark, we stand here. It's over.
Yeah.
We've pulled the pencil out of our eye, and we look back and we go, okay, you know what? Tonight we played a whole bunch of young players, guys for the first time playing, and Maddox Kopp, Hankerson's touchdown. We had some plays by some young guys, and I think that's what we want to look at. Now that the pencil's out of the eye and we can look at it somewhat objectively without pain, and that we played a bunch of young guys and we made some plays with some young guys, and I think that's where our future is. And a combination of developing the guys that we can keep around here, getting new guys, getting transfers in, having a coaching change. I think there's a lot to look forward to. I really do. I know it's hard to say after what we just experienced, but I think there's a lot to look forward to because it cannot get worse.
No.
There's no way. I can guarantee you. I've been around this a long time, Mark. You can't get worse than this.
But the Buffaloes were outscored, by the way, by 349 points this season. Gary mentions Maddox Kopp, fourth starting quarterback for the Buffaloes this season. J.T. Shrout did not even dress in this one. Drew Carter been dinged up. That's a tough position to put a guy that's never played in college football.
Sure
game.
It is. You know, and you're playing against a team that needs to win to have a chance
Great
to
defense.
go into the championship game. They're coming in here to take it from you and hurt you. And, he hung in there. And he grew. He got a lot, in the fourth quarter, he was a lot better than he was in the first quarter. Wasn't enough to win, but it was still important for us to make that step.
Buffaloes do get rolled in this one, though. Wrap up 1-11 afterward. We heard from interim head coach Mike Sanford. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly.
I don't believe in moral victories normally, but tonight I did. We can say what we want, but I was really proud of us coming into the halftime and the spot we were in. And at the end of the day, we won the second half. And that might sound like you're playing against their backups, their third-string players. For that team, that locker room of players to not only not quit, but actually go fight and put together a really good second half of football, it speaks to exactly what's going on in that group and in our organization right now. It's been fight, it's been character, it's been fighting through all the adversity that we continue to face. This group of players made football fun for me again. This profession's really hard. There's a lot of challenges with it. To have a group of players do what they did and continue to fight, I'll never forget this. And I'm so grateful to this group of players. It really has been the most enjoyable season of my life.
Well, there's the interim head coach Mike Sanford after the Buffaloes fall in the season finale to Utah, finish up 1-11. I'm commenting too about the job that Mike Sanford did. Put in a nearly impossible position considering the schedule Colorado was playing and what he had to go through, but I thought he did a well of a job.
It wasn't nearly impossible. It was impossible.
Yeah.
And when you look at the last four teams that we played, the games that we had and on the road, tough games against really good teams. For the first time in how many years, we've got 4 or 5 teams in this conference that are ranked. So it was a tough situation. You have 2 coaches that get fired, and he's got to come in. I think he did I loved what he did and how he did it. He wasn't successful.
Yep.
Except that he made it fun for the kids, and he kept them around. You know, they went into Rick George and said, ask if he could stay as the head coach. And, you know, unfortunately, the product that was out there probably prevents that from happening. But the kids, I think he saved some kids.
Yep.
You know, he gave some kids a chance, and he gave them a lot of hope. And I think he made it fun for him.
Yeah.
And that's really all he could do and the best he could do.
It'd make it very tough to make Mike the head coach. You'd love to see him, whoever it is that comes in here, maybe keep Mike on the staff. Now we sit and wait. And, you know, I said it, wrapped up the radio broadcast, hope springs eternal. Wait to see who the new guy's going to be and all that brings.
You know, 9 days from now, 8 days from now, we're probably going to know.
Yeah.
And then whoever that is going to have a job to do, and one, try to retain as many players as he wants, and then 2, go out and get new ones, and then start changing the culture.
Well, the Buffaloes wrap up a very tough season, 1-11 on the campaign as they fall in the rumble of the Rockies to the Utes of Utah. Thanks to Gary Barnett for joining us all season long. Coming up next, we're going to talk with our sideline reporter, Andy Lindahl. First down and goal to go for the 1-yard line. There's a throw back in the end zone, wide open, grab, touchdown. Touchdown, Colorado. And that is Frank Phillip, the offensive lineman. All of the big fellas ran down there, and they're jumping all over Frank Phillip. Tommy Brown this week said, I've been begging the offensive coaches, get the ball to Frank. Oh, as my silent reporter once said, nothing better than a fat guy touchdown. It was great to see Frank Phillip, who's been wearing that number 94, which is a tackle-eligible tight end number all season long. Last touchdown 2022, big fella in the end zone. You were down. That's kind of fun, isn't it?
It was a lot of fun. Now, when you got a lot of this going on, I'm probably the fat guy. I don't mean to, but we probably should have called it a big man touchdown. But who doesn't love the big man touchdown? It was a lot of fun. He tried to show off his twinkle toes at the end. Maybe he twinkled on one toe anyway, and that's all you need in college, so that's all
We're not sure, by the way, if it actually was a touchdown.
Did not get down in bounds, but it doesn't matter.
All you need is one in
college.
All
you need is one in college. So, you know, good for him. Look, it was a long game and a long night. That at least provided some joy at the end.
Yeah, and by the way, you think of a Rob Gronkowski kind of spike there at the end we saw for the big guy. Thought he was going to deflate the football. And then, of course, all the big guys had to come down, all the 300-pounders jumping on top of him. So kind of a nice moment.
You know what's funny about that? So one of the CU students, Peyton Kraft, was shadowing me, and I told her, watch out for the spikes, because when they really let it go, Mitch Unrein taught me this. Remember him?
Yeah.
And he had spiked one time, and I think the ball like zinged by my head. Like I heard it. It sounded like like a missile going by. So I just got done telling her, watch the spike, and then he goes and unloads that thing. It's dangerous on the sidelines. You want to be down here, you got to be ready to move.
By the way, Tommy Brown, the transfer from Alabama, has been campaigning the second half of the season since they've been using Frank in that circumstance. Coaches, get him the ball.
Yeah.
Mike Sanford told us afterward. He told Clay Patterson, the offensive coordinator, if you don't call it, I'm going to fire you at the end of the season when maybe the staff's not going to be retained. Nonetheless, tough season.
Yeah,
these guys
no
continue to play hard, though.
They did continue to play hard, and there were a lot of kids, I think, that went out there and showed their mettle today. I told you when they pushed their way into the end zone after the interception for the initial score of the game for CU, lots of big offensive lineman smiles as I walked from one end to the other, and we saw that offensive huddle. But just not enough today. Look, you can't mince words with the score the way it was. They got out physical at times. I felt like they showed up and showed us that this could have been a closer game with maybe a better start in the first half. Wasn't to be. Season's over, on to the next.
Yeah, tough situation when you put a guy like Maddox Cobb out there for his first college start. Well, now it all turns to focusing on what's coming up. You know, we're seeing all the rumors out there, all the reports out there. And right now it's just wait and see, right?
Well, it is wait and see, but I'll just say, but count me in for at least trying the Deion and Sanders experiment, if that's what goes down. We don't know. There's a lot of people, it's crazy. Every time I get someone that says, yeah, I think it might happen, someone else comes back and says, no, I don't think he'll take the job. So you can't get your hands around this thing. And it's not like a lot of us have built up time getting context near Deion Sanders, because that's really, I think, what we've got to find out. Yeah. Look, if it were to happen, I think it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a big name. I think it would get some energy going in this place. I think much like Russell Wilson did for the Broncos. I think you would end up having the national media immediately wanting in here, wanting to talk about this thing. I love this university. I love this football program. I know this. I don't care who comes in. I want the after Thanksgiving Day game to matter again. I realize, and Coach said it best in the pregame, we can't look backwards. We can't wish for the Friday after the way it once was. Mark, you and I have done over a decade of these games together. Yep. I just want this final game to mean something for bowl positioning or pole positioning or whatever it may be, because what we watched today was rough. I love watching football up here. I love these kids that play it. How can you not love the Brady Russells and the Jalen Samis and stuff? You just have to get a better brand of football going, man. It is tough to witness what we watched
Well,
today.
and it's tough as well. I think I was wrapping up my 19th season doing the Buffaloes, and I go back to Gary Barnett and Dan Hawkins and John Embry and Mike McIntyre and Mel Tucker and Carl Durant. Listen, it's too much. There needs to be some stability. This Utah team, Kyle Whittingham's been there 18 seasons as the head coach. There needs to be some stability here to build this thing, and it's got to start with whoever the coach is going to be very shortly. We'll find out in just a few days from where we stand here on a Saturday afternoon. It's going to be 7-8 days, but whoever that is, and Coach Barnett made this point on a radio broadcast, Buff Nation and everybody involved needs to get behind it and help this process along with whoever that man is. That's Andy Lindahl, our silent reporter. We'll go ahead and take a timeout here at the Buffalo Stampede. Coming up next, we're talking men's basketball.
Senior day for Colorado. The Utes had 3 seniors on the floor on the road today, and the Buffs with 7 seniors. The outgoing class, Kelly Lavaggi, number 20 for the Buffs, sets a career high. She tallies 7 kills as she steps in for an injured Sterling Parker, one of those seniors. Jill Schnegenberger, another important senior contributor today with 9 kills, 13 digs for senior Jill Schnegenberger as they use a variety of those 7 seniors. Megan Hart, the leading efficiency attacker in the Pac-12, big for the Buffs today, and Colorado wins in 4 over Utah.
Back in the Buffalo Stampede, we got some great images there from senior night for the volleyball teams. They got a win over the Utes of Utah back at the Stampede. Jalen Gabadon, Mark Johnson. Buffs got a win over his former school, Yale, by the way. Hard-fought winning. Was that weird going out there and playing against those guys?
So weird. I mean, I've practiced against these guys so long, so many times. They're my best friends, and before the game, I was like, I couldn't even look at them. I was just focused on what we had to do. You know, it's weird, but I'm super proud of them. Like a lot of them are young guys that I helped mentor a little bit when I was there, and so see them compete. Well, I'm really proud of them. But obviously, we had to get a dub tonight.
That's right. Yeah, the new school, the new jerseys are right. That's thicker, if you will, than the old jersey, if you will, in terms of the connection there. But did you help the Buffaloes with a scouting report in a game like this? I mean, you know these guys.
Of course. I mean, if you were courtside, you heard me. They were yelling plays out of bounds, and I was calling out the reads, what to do. I was like, we're doubling that, or we're doing this. And
awesome.
We actually got a few steals off of just me calling out play. So we'll see.
Tad mentioned, and you obviously know this because you played. That's a very good basketball team, a tough basketball team, and so this ends up being a very nice victory for the Buffaloes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Coach Jones is. I consider him he's like a father figure for me, and he's done so much for me. He does so much for the program as a whole, and so I knew they were going to be ready. He gets your mind right pre-game. So
was that a tough decision? I mean, to make that transfer for your last year of eligibility for you?
Mm-hmm. I had no choice but to go because of the Ivy League rules, but. Okay. I mean, it was weird because I have such pride and loyalty to Yale basketball for how much they've done for me, and so it was weird coming somewhere else and having to make that same adjustment. Be like, okay, I need to start building that same pride, that same love for the program. So obviously, as we've gone along, that's naturally happened, but it was definitely weird, and it definitely still is. I saw them here, and I was like, I'm about to go warm up with them. I'm like, oh no, I'm on this side.
Well, if during a timeout I would have seen him walking over to the Yale bench, I would have made fun of him on the radio, by the way. There's no doubt about that. Afterward, we heard from a couple of players after the Buffs knock out the Bulldogs.
We still got to work on consistency. Just being rock solid for 40 minutes, or just trying our best to do that. And, just knowing personnel, we really let the shooters get some shots up. And when you let shooters get shots up, they're making a lot of them. So one big thing that we're emphasizing on is taking shots away from shooters. We just really locked in, and, we listened to Coach. And Coach had a good game plan at the end. We followed that, and we just executed it, and it worked out in our favor. So,
me and Coach both had a talk. He wants me to be more aggressive. So I'm just trying to be out there, be aggressive, and help my team. I'm trying to make the right plays, and if that's scoring, I'll do that. Try to come out and be aggressive right away. You know, we lost the first 4 minutes of the second half. We just got to be ready right away. That can't happen. You know, it's representative for the whole second half, I think. You know, throughout the second half, I think they went up on the boards too, so they controlled that part of the game a little bit. So we just got to come out and be stronger, be more consistent, put two halves together, and you know, do our job consistently.
There's a couple of players after the Buffs get the victory over the Yale Bulldogs. We continue with Jalen Gabadon. All right, now for the Colorado Buffaloes. You talk about your time with Yale. The Buffaloes needed this win. You guys have been up and down a little bit this season. That long road trip, come home to get a win like this. Are we making steps towards where we need to be?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the biggest thing was, you know, we came out in the first half and guarded. Yeah. You know, and I think that another step is we need to come out in the second half and guard. Because I think throughout the first 9 minutes, they shot 60% from the field in the second half. And, you know, we knew that they were a great second half team. I obviously knew that. And so being able to put together 40 minutes of Buffalo, you know, Colorado Buffalo defense is what we really need to, you know, keep working on.
For guys like you, even if you're your first year guy, you're an experienced player. Guys like you, Tristan, that have been around basketball for a long time. Part of the learning process for this young team is to understand that consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mentality. And, like, I think we definitely got a lot better over this past week at it, and obviously we're going to continue to push and work at those things because we have 2 conference play games coming up, and those are must-win games for us. So just continue to, like, you know, pound into our heads, like, you know, defense, toughness, rebounding is important. And so, you know, Coach Boyle called out a few of us, and, you know, for rebounding, for certain things, you know, this week. And so I think a lot of the guys responded really well. You know, I know he mentioned that Tristan and I were, you know, a little bit need to rebound better. Yeah. And so I know that Tristan and I come to this game, talked, and we're like, we got to focus on that and make sure that's a priority. So just building those habits is.
This team's going to lean on Tristan a little bit on the offensive end. He was very aggressive. Sure. You guys need that, don't you, for him to play that way?
For sure. I mean, he has all the talent in the world. Yeah. And, you know, obviously, I know myself. Like, Tristan's a much more talented player, and it's like, Tristan, like, consistency, like, be aggressive, like, be you. You know, and so, like, all the guys on the team, it's like, it's a matter of just developing into, you know, like a mature player where it's like, I know what I can bring every day. Yeah. And I think today he showed what he can bring every day.
He's one of those guys that everything just looks effortless when he does it, talking about Tristan. Hey, great job out there.
Thank you.
That was weird for you, but I'm glad we got the win and not your old guys.
Super weird. We got the win. Let's move on. Next game.
Jalen Gabadon joined us after the Buffs knock out the Yale Bulldogs. We'll take a time, but we're going to talk with assistant coach Bill Greer next.
It's a quick turnover. Here's De Silva. De Silva for 3. Look.
There's some great shots of Tristan De Silva. Buffs got a victory at home against the Yale Bulldogs after being gone from Colorado here for 20 days. But nice to get a home victory. Back on the Buffalo Stampede, talking with Bill Greer, assistant coach for the Buffaloes. Well, all right. You guys had some great work here coming back from Myrtle Beach. Yeah. On the practice court, what did we see here against Yale?
Well, we did some good things today, and it was great to have Hadley back with us and in the lineup because he provides so much energy and toughness. We had some really good stretches defensively. We did have some breakdowns and let Polikitis get going. Yeah. That was part of the scout, was to take him away, and we didn't do a good enough job on him. But down the stretch, we got stops when we needed to, which, you know, was what we had to do at the end of the game to finish them off.
Scott and I got talking about a guy like Polikitis. The way they shoot, it's not that you have to beat there. You have to be up in him, don't you?
Yeah, you got to have your hand over the ball, and you can't let him get the ball to his pocket. And even if he is missing them, we let him get 8 of them off. Right. He shouldn't get that many off. They should be 2s. And, you know, it's just something we have to get better at. But that's a really, really well-coached team that's going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, without question. They've been very successful. In fact, the last few years have won 4 regular season titles in the Ivy League. One of the conversations about this team has been consistency and being mentally aware every single ball.
Sure.
Did we see some of that in this contest?
Yeah, we did. You know, but that's part of, you know, you have a lot of young guys. Yeah. Guys that first time playing a lot of minutes Division I basketball. So there are going to be some ups and downs. But that's the thing we have to get better as a group. And that's where we need guys like Tristan to provide that leadership to help us be more consistent. And it has to start on the defensive end.
Yeah, without question. Buffaloes were pretty good in the first half defensively. Second half gave up a few buckets. In fact, Yale shot them almost 60% in the second.
Yeah, and we talked to them at halftime. Yale has been very, very good in the second half all year long, and we just let them get going.
So the Buffaloes get the win over the Yale Bulldogs. Afterward, we heard from head coach Tad Boyle.
games in late November at home aren't supposed to be that nerve-wracking, but we beat a really, really good program, a team that's really well coached. I've got such respect for James Jones and what he's done with that program in 24 years. I mean, he's found a home. Obviously, Yale's lucky to have him. We were fortunate to win this game because we knew Yale, look, they've gone to 3 out of the last 4 NCAA tournaments, and the one that they didn't go to wasn't held. Really a good win. I think anybody who was at this game today understands that. I may have overscheduled with this team, but we snuck out of one with a win, and I do think as we head into league play, at least our guys understand that nothing's going to be easy, and because our schedule has not been easy. So we needed this today. I thought our guys showed grit and toughness down the stretch, but still areas we can improve on.
Head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffaloes get the win over the Yale Bulldogs. We continue with assistant coach Bill Greer. We talked on the radio broadcast how our player of the game was Tristan Da Silva. Very aggressive. That's something this team needs, and I know you guys have talked to him about it.
Yeah, no, coach challenged him a lot this week about being a bigger factor offensively for us. He's got to be more aggressive when he gets a catch. He's got to look for more shots, and today he was terrific at it. Scored in the post, was good out on the perimeter. And that's the thing about Tristan, he's so versatile, he can score in a variety of ways. We just need him to do it more.
He's one of those guys, he makes everything look effortless. And sometimes people wonder if he's playing hard, but he is playing hard.
He does, even like when he runs out for starting warm-ups.
Right. He's just got that look about him. Defensively, this team has got some guys that can play really well on the defensive end. I thought the play KJ made at the end, they're trying to get it to Poulikitis for the three-pointer down by 3, and I thought he read that. First off, a great physical play, but a smart play by him.
Yeah, it was a smart play, and knowing that they're trying to go to him there at the end. And we switched our matchup. We put KJ on him last 10 minutes of the game. He got 1 on him, but for the most part, I felt KJ did a great job getting through screens on him, and that was a big key to the game, I thought, was limiting his shot attempts out there down the stretch.
One thing that's changed in the Pac-12, and that has been conference games now to the 20-game schedule in the month of December. Now the Buffaloes switched their attention from non-conference. Now you got Arizona State here on Thursday night, Washington. All of a sudden, kind of the whole deal kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah, it really does, and two teams that are playing good basketball right now. Arizona State's going to come in here 5-1, 6-1, and Washington's won the the Wooden Classic, so 2 good teams.
Well, a nice win for the Buffaloes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, assistant coach Bill Greer, Buffs get the win over the Bulldogs of Yale. That puts a wrap on the Buffalo Stampede this week. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.